The political fight over Obamacare and the resulting healthcare evolution we see developing. What does it mean for you? We have the unbiased perspective from behind the scenes that the media is not telling you about. And in the short term, we'll tell you this, it's not pretty, but we have advice for you. Hi, everyone. John Daly here, along with Judd Anglin on the Healthcare Secrets podcast. So you're hearing about the repeal of Obamacare. 20 red states are going to federal court to repeal Obamacare. The Trump administration is joining them. Legislatively, though, the president is backing off on his own repeal efforts until after the 2020 election, as the GOP Senate realizes they can't run on this. So, Judd, is this going anywhere politically?
There may be some developments, but it's going to take a long time, John. This is going to go to the courts, and then they got to battle it out, and it might not even hit the Supreme Court until 2021. I'm going to say it's definitely going to be after the elections, if anything at all is done, but I doubt it will happen.
All right. If you can, explain for the folks the reasoning behind the individual mandate and what that means and how it's going through the courts.
Sure. Well, the individual mandate, you'll remember during healthcare reform and when it went to the Supreme Court, because the Republicans were claiming that it was unconstitutional, but the individual mandate is basically a penalty if you don't buy insurance. That's never been done before in the U.S., where the government has the power to force you to buy something. That's basically what it boils down to. But when it went to the Supreme Court, it actually was upheld. And that was the Republican or more conservative Supreme Court Justice John Roberts that actually saw it as a tax. And he sees the government as having that power to tax. So since it's a tax, then he allowed Obamacare to stand as it was.
Okay, so in discussions you and I have had, we think there's some resulting stuff of either what's going to happen because really stuff in the courts may not happen right away or it may take a while. But before we get into that, let's interject our bias or what I would call our lack of bias. Now, first, folks, you know Judd has written the comprehensive book on escaping the insurance traps. It's called The Big Book of Healthcare Secrets. Go to our site and get it, healthcaresecretspodcast.com. That's the site. It could save you thousands of dollars. Then also understand that together, Judd and I have been elbows deep in the healthcare industry for decades. I'm licensed in life and health insurance in numerous states. If you're looking for a career opportunity, you can contact me at info@johndaly.tv. And we both see a solution for many in medical cost sharing, which brings down and encourages prevention, things that insurance doesn't do. So let me jump in here, Judd, and I'll kind of throw my perspective there and have you either add to it or disagree with it. I think Obamacare was a good try, just poorly executed. More people were covered, but it also allowed the insurance companies too much power to consolidate and control market conditions to raise prices on healthier people. The current market conditions want sick care, which brings more profits, but costs the country more, and everyday folks, it costs them dearly. Give me your take, Judd.
Yeah, I think, always, whenever a law is passed in Congress, there's a lot of good intentions, but they don't think about the consequences of those intentions. It's like if you throw a rock into a pond, you're going to get the first wave, but that's going to reverberate across the entire pond, right? And that's what happens. It's like once you pass this law, you have this consequences, and then what? And then you answer that question, and you go to the next one, and then what? So I see that as Obamacare has become really just a nightmare. But the problem is it's really a political weapon, and that's why it's going to be so difficult to reform it. Because obviously millions of people are very happy about it. They get subsidized. They call it healthcare, but it's not healthcare. They get subsidized insurance. What they don't know is that even if you have the platinum Obamacare plan, the hospital and the healthcare providers still see it as Medicaid. So that's a problem because the Medicaid reimbursement rate to the provider is much lower than the standard rate. So a lot of times, independent doctors or small rural hospitals, they can't afford the Medicaid patients. They're losing money. So that's why if you have Medicaid and you call and make a doctor's appointment, oftentimes they'll put you off months on a waiting list. So that's something that everybody needs to understand. It's like you keep hearing the politicians and the news media say you now have health care. Well, you always have health care. That's not the issue. The issue is, can you get in to see a doctor when you need to see one? And that's what I try to spell out in my book, is you always have access to high quality healthcare or, treatment at a fraction of the cost. And that's what the news media, and you can do it on your own. And that's what the media and the politicians will never tell you, because it's not their agenda. Their agenda is power. And the more people they have, their lives on the line, they're going to vote for that party all day long, because they think, I want healthcare. I want healthcare. And it's like, no, yes, you want healthcare. Every human being wants healthcare. But what we want is, when we're sick and we need to see a doctor, we want to see a doctor.
And you can do it on your own.
You have to spell it out in those terms.
All right. He is Judd Anglin. I'm John Daly. This is the Healthcare Secrets Podcast. You can go to our website, which is the healthcaresecretspodcast.com. And we're also on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And we are on Spreaker.com. The podcast is. That's Spreaker. Okay, so your assessment is really good, and as a result of that, we are seeing other things that the media is not reporting. Many states are bucking the federal government, and they are now beginning to enact new laws to bring back that individual mandate. They seem to side, like you were saying, they like Obamacare now. I'm not surprised. What do you say about this, about these states doing this, and what could be the result of that?
Yeah, well, if you think about it, since John Roberts allowed Obamacare to stand because the government has the power to tax, that's a very strong power, right? I mean, when you can tax, then you basically get trillions of dollars into your coffers. So it's not a bad power to have. But that being said, yes, the states are going to do this. I would like to see the whole law personally scrapped and try something different. Now, of course, I'm not advocating that, the people that can't afford healthcare, they shouldn't have access. Absolutely. I just think we can come up with a lot more creative ways to do this. But yeah, there's a lot of states out there that, they're going to use that power to tax. They have to, because, they can't afford, the consequences if thousands of their citizens are on Obamacare, but they're only signing up when they're sick, because what's the consequences if they don't? I mean, the mandate, if you think about it, that was another problem with the mandate, this penalty, is it was set too low. I know that sounds bad, but, think about this. You're faced with either paying like $12,000 to $20,000 a year in insurance costs, with the premiums, the monthly premiums, or just saying, I'll pay a penalty of $325. I think I'll pay the $325. Thank you very much. Because, and think of it, and the reason they would do that is because there's a mandate. There's no pre-existing conditions. You can sign up anytime. So you go to the doctor and you find out you have some horrible disease. Then the first thing you do is you call an insurance company and say, sign me up. So, I mean, a lot of this it lacked any common sense, really. But let me just emphasize, though, I realize that a lot of people had good intentions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. But by not having those people in there, you've got a lot of healthy people who are not paying into the system that are helping the overall system. All right, here's what else I'm hearing. Companies are getting really fed up with the insurance price increases. They're also fed up with bad insurance policy options and disgruntled employees who have whopping deductibles. But some experts think change is coming, but it may take maybe an economic collapse first. We are hearing about new models for companies and employees that are trying now to get devised to work. So here's a heads up, folks. Get ready for no deductible or very low deductible employee policies where you go to the doc or a medical facility and you pay nothing or maybe 20% because your employer has what is called reference-based pricing with facilities ahead of time. These employers are going self-insured, bypassing the insurance companies and saving millions. It could lower costs, but it also restricts employees' choices. we're beginning to see the iterations of this coming, Judd. Give me your take on this.
Yeah, I mean, definitely companies, they've been, a lot of companies have actually gone out of business because of healthcare costs, right? So medium and large size companies, they've been struggling to deal with the increasing the inflationary cost of healthcare and their employees year after year. So now they are starting to think out of the box and get creative to bring prices down. And they're trying so many different things. And I actually think, that's a good thing, because hopefully they can find solutions, a large group that can actually, go down to the individual level. So a lot of these cool innovations that they're coming up with, I know that there are companies that actually give their employees an opportunity to travel abroad for a surgical procedure. And the company will even pay for the flight and also allow a partner to travel with you. There's been several companies that offer that. So this is certainly coming around. And then there's all these health programs, incorporating apps and programs where they require their employees to stay in shape.
Okay, and we're going to go more in depth in those new kinds of formats, insurance formats. We're going to do that in future podcasts. Remember this, though. Governments and our political parties are bought, and they're bought to stop progress. So these things are developing, though, in the private sector. There are companies, there are people who really want to solve this problem. And, one, they can make money. Two, they can make a difference. So, Judd, give me your take, because you're the solutions guy, the big book of healthcare secrets. What do you say to folks as this is beginning to develop? What's your insight there?
Well, John, I really like how you teed that up there, because you said that people we're kind of trapped in a system where people are gaming the system. I'm not saying they're immoral. It's just natural. I mean, they're making a lot of money, and they don't want to lose that, right? So they hang on any way possible to their positions. We saw, for example, Mark Zuckerberg now, after he built Facebook and he's one of the richest guys on the planet, now he's coming in and saying the government needs to regulate it. Well, what he's really saying is government needs to keep Facebook and me at the top position. I don't want to deal with competitors out there that may be trying to build the next Facebook, right? It's the same principle in healthcare. You're the CEO of a large insurance company or a big hospital, big medical device company. You don't want to lose your position. So you collude with government, you pay lobbyists, you keep everything status quo, because status quo, those guys are killing it. So no status quo. But you're absolutely right. I realize this, and change is going to come slow. And there's going to be a lot of pain for people that aren't prepared and are not paying attention and not learning how to care for themselves. Because as I mentioned in a prior podcast, what we've done is we've outsourced our healthcare to the experts. So we didn't think about it. Well, the experts haven't done very good at this, right? So we need to bring it back under our control, start learning about, our own personal health, how we can better care for ourselves, diet, nutrition, sleep, whatever it needs to be. But then the next step from there is learning, okay, if I need an MRI or I'm feeling a pain, what's the best way to solve this now at the highest quality, most affordable price? Something that the media and the politicians aren't trying to funnel me into, but I'm going to be an individual and I'm going to find my own solution. And that's what you're going to find with my book. And that was the purpose of my book, is to allow people an escape ramp from our industrial corporate complex, and as an individual to find solutions that are way better, way more affordable, and it's going to make you a lot healthier.
And the book is called The Big Book of Healthcare Secrets, and you can get it on our website, which is the healthcaresecretspodcast.com. It's healthcaresecretspodcast.com. We're also on YouTube, we're on Facebook and Twitter, and we are on the podcasting site called Spreaker, SPREAKER.com. All right, Judd, great show. Great way to end it, about teaching people how to stay healthy and be their own advocate, because that is really the basis of everything, right?
Absolutely. Key.
All right, cool. All right, Judd, another great show. Thank you very much, folks. Thanks for checking in with us. Remember, stay healthy, be your own advocate. We will be back with more.